So guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's tutorial I want to show you how to cut this overlapping top, and this is me. All right, after I finish sewing everything. Well, I feel my own is kind of shorter than the actual picture, but it's fine. So let's go. So now the things you will be needing, just your thread and the belt buckle, okay, your paper, scissors, your pattern paper, and every other thing. Your fabric, I actually use Duchess, okay. I don't know, it's kind of silky, and that's what they use for that style. So you buy Duchess, okay. So now the first thing I did was to measure from my back shoulder, okay, from the midpoint of my shoulder to where I want it to the sleeve to stop, okay. So from there I went ahead to measure my length of your top. Mine is 24, okay, plus the band. You know, there is like 2 inches or 2.5 inches band there, and making total of 26. All right, so now I measured 24. From there I went ahead to measure the top length, which is 23. That was what I used initially, but I had to reduce it to 21. But that 21 was kind of shorter for me at the end of the day, so I'll prefer use either that 23 inches is okay. Okay, so from there I didn't want to cut this paper differently, like the front and the back to get differently, so actually make use of one paper. All right, so the next thing I did was to measure my neck. Okay, so the neck I just drew the covers both the front and the back. So from the shoulder I went ahead to measure 3 inches downward to get the slope, the shoulder slope, and that's where I connected to the neck point. So from there on the top length, okay, for the front I went ahead to measure I divided my hip, actually used my hip measurement. When I got to my half length I stopped there and then connected. You know, it's bogus, it's not fitted, and then connect it, and it's a cut together dress, okay. So from there I also measure my um top length, like the front. The first one I did is the back, okay. Then the second one I went ahead to measure the front. You know, the front is longer than the back, so I used the same paper to connect the line. So I made the front to be 31, okay. So now the back is 23, all right, and the front is 31. Now the second neckline I just drew now is 1.5 as the neck depth and 2.5 as the neck width, okay. So from there now we have two neckline, one is for the back and one is for the front. All right, so I went ahead to cut it. Now after I finished cutting it I folded um the longer part, okay. Now you can see I've already checked there. You see that the front is there, I've already marked it. I folded the longer part, okay, inside, which is the front, and then I cut it out on fabric. I cut the back out. So this is what I mean. I went ahead and I folded it so I can get the front, all right, I mean the back. So after I finished cutting the front I was able to gum the back together. I have to replicate the front in order for me to get the overlapping effect. You know, the overlapping was not just much, so I went ahead to retake my measurement and I got 23, okay. Though I reduced it to 21 at the end of the day, that's what makes my own to be a kind of short. But I would advise, if you want your own to be a little bit long, you can use that 23, all right, or 24. Now the second neck there is for the front, okay. You can see I didn't cut anything out, I only folded it. So I went ahead to place my fabric. Please, if you are sewing, do not use scrap. I think this Duchess is more preferable, okay. So I went ahead to place it and then cut it out. Guys, please, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly do so. Alright, so this is it. I went ahead to cut it out on my fabric. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Alright, thank you. Don't forget, I always advise whenever you are cutting your fabric, always cut it on bias. Okay, like, sorry, borders to borders. Okay, I went ahead. Now this is the front part. Okay, I went ahead to replicate the paper and then gum in. Look at the back. You can see I didn't overlap. Okay, on each other, it did not overlap, so that it won't affect the measurement. So from there, I went ahead to bring it down. When I went to um the top length, I connected it. I measured 7 inches to connect the lines. Okay, so after I finished connecting the lines, I you can see it didn't have anything to affect the shoulder, so I connected it to meet. If you check closely, you will notice it didn't open my chest very well, like too much. So I'm done cutting it out now. So I went ahead to place the back. You can see I place the back so that I will know where to notch. Okay, so that's where I'm going to cut the front, give it a shape. That's where it's going to stop. I actually did that so that when I'm joining this side, I will be able to align together, like the two sides will be able to align together. I measured, so from there I measured 5 inches to connect those points together. You can see I give it a shape, okay, to meet where I marked my 5 inches. All right, so go ahead and do the same as well, and then cut the paper out. You can see it's not straight, it has a curvy effect there. Then go ahead and cut it out. After cutting it out, make sure you can see, make sure you notch that neck point, because that's where your collar is going to lie. Okay, make sure you cut it out. Don't forget to notch that place, please, because that's where you're going to take your neck measurement for the collar. So after doing that, go ahead and cut the facing. You can see, and when you're cutting the facing, it has to be big. So here actually use 8 inches as the width, and I cut it all the way. If you check the style closely, you are going to see that the extended part, there was no part like weaving, it was all turned inside. All right, so go ahead and measure 8 inches, or if you want to be more than that, depending on your fabric. I actually use 2.5 yards of Dutchess for this style. Okay, but at the end of the day, what I got was just pieces, and I thank God I used paper. Okay, so you can see cut exactly and then sew it. Now the texture of this Dutchess that I'm using is kind of light, like kind of very light compared to other textures of Dutchess. So if you're going to be using this one, there's no need for you to put paper stay, because I noticed after I've put paper stay for the facing at the back, it reduced the measurement, so I had to drag it. So if you are using a lighter Dutchess, do not put paper stay, and that's the reason I didn't put paper stay in front, okay, for the facing. So I went ahead to take my measurement and connect it to where I marked that 8. So this is the front facing. Go ahead, after cutting the front, go ahead and cut the back as well. So this is my back facing. The same thing I did is what I'm doing here. Okay, so after you finish cutting it, go ahead and shape it. All right, so guys, I'm done now. Now I want to cut the band here. So after cutting the band, I went ahead, I measured from my shoulder point, back shoulder to where to below my elbow. It's 24. Now the band is like 2 inches. So after measuring the 2 inches, after I measured where the extended hand is, and then my sleeve there, my band there is 10 inches, so I divided the band into my measurement into two, and I added 1 inches to it and then cut it out. After cutting the first one, I went ahead to cut the second one as well. All right, so when you are cutting this band, I cut it borders to border so that it will be stretchy. It will give you that stretchy effect. After that, I went ahead to gum paper stay at the back, on the back, but I didn't like the outcome though, because it really affected the measurement. So do not, if you're using the lighter um texture of this Duchess, do not put paper stay, do not add anything. Okay, so I went ahead to join my front, the fabric and the facing together. I joined the shoulder and I went ahead to measure the neck. Okay, the round neck. Remember, I asked you to notch the center and the center of the back and then the front. Okay, I had to use my pattern paper to cut. I wanted to use my pattern paper to cut the collar. Now after I finished measuring, I got 12 inches. So when I folded it into two, it was total of 6. Okay, like if you open it, it's going to give you 12 inches, but when you fold it together, it's going to give you 6. So I placed the 6 on the paper. I didn't use the actual 6, I used 7. Okay, because of the collar. So after I measured 3 inches as the length of the collar, and then I went ahead to measure 7 inches, okay, on the upper part, just like this, then 7 inches on the lower part, and then connect my lines. And so I went to the midpoint and measured half inch, like the midpoint where the collar is going to start from the back. I brought it down by half inch. Okay, and then from there, you know and I remove half inch too from the neck. So this half inch that I removed, it does not have anything to do with the neck measurement. It's not going to affect it. It's just to give it a shape. Okay, so now the collar is ready. So I didn't want to cut the fabric first. I went ahead to gum paper stay on the collar, on the fabric, before cutting it out. All right, so that it won't affect my measurement. So from there, I went ahead to notch the center front and sew it. After I finished sewing it, I folded the half inch. Look at it here, and I folded the half inch I'm going to sew. It was not even up to half inch, like 3/4. All right, because that's what I'm going to sew. I went ahead to fix it on the shirt, and after everything, I iron it. After I finished ironing, I went ahead to sew the facing two on the fabric and then flip it outside. I did the same thing on the second hand, and that was it. After I finished everything, I went ahead to iron the clothes. I went ahead to sew the side, and that was it, and then weaved it. So after I finished weaving it, I make sure on the sleeve I drew my gathers. After I finished joining the side, all right, I drew gathers um to get in order to fix my band. All right, so this is it. You can see now it's giving us that neat effect. Okay, so this is me. after I finished sewing everything, I drew gathers and I fixed my band. I hope you like it. I hope you subscribe. I hope you share and give me a comment, okay, on the comment section. So this is me. You can see my one top is kind of short, and if you are doing it, you can make your own to be longer. Thank you for watching and God bless you.